Hi everyone! In today's tutorial we're going to learn about Photoshop's Workspace. Now what is a workspace? Anytime you have an image or a new document open in Photoshop and you are working on that image, you're going to see this same workspace. You've got the toolbar to the left, options on the top, and different panels here on the right. Now in order to see this workspace you have to have work open, whether that's some sort of image or a new document. So if you're not sure how to do that, please watch the tutorial on how to open and create new documents in Photoshop. Now since I have an image open already, let's go ahead and go over the toolbar here on the left. Now the toolbar is its own little panel. You can actually detach it from the workspace and have it be a floating panel. You can change its shape and size. So feel free to do that. I do like to keep it attached to the workspace, and in order to put it back, you can simply drag it until you see blue and let go. And that way it basically just stays there permanently, but again, you can adjust. Now these are all kinds of different tools here in Photoshop, and we're going to learn more about each and every one of these in future tutorials. But in order to just know how to use these and see more options, what they're called, what they do, that's what we're going to do today. So here we've got the first tool, which is the Move tool. But notice if I hover my cursor over a tool, Photoshop tells me what the tool's name is, as you can see, Move tool. The keyboard shortcut for that tool, which here is the letter V. So that just means if I click the letter V on my keyboard, it'll automatically select the Move tool for me. The Move tool, it tells you what each tool does, moves a selection or layer, and it also allows you to learn more. So if you're ever not sure how to use one of these tools, maybe we haven't gone over it yet, you could actually watch a tutorial from Adobe's site here. So all the tools work that way. Again, you can hover over them. Now notice that some of these tools have these little triangle or arrows on the bottom right of each of the icons, and that means that there are more tools underneath that top tool. So just like you saw there, if I click and hold, I actually get to see all the options underneath that tool. So this isn't just the elliptical marquee tool, there's actually the rectangle, the single row, and the single column. So any tool like that, if you click and hold, you're able to see basically the tools that are underneath it. And they basically categorize those together since they are similar. And again, I can hover over each of these tools, and not only does it tell me what it does, the keyboard shortcut of how to get to that tool, what that tool is called, a quick visual of what that tool looks like, as well as tutorials. Now when you choose any sort of tool, you get options at the top, and these make these tools customizable. So for example, right now I have the quick selection tool, and you're able to choose different options. Are you going to select more or less? You can change the size of the brush. And for every single tool, you have many options at the top to choose from. Now let's talk about the panels here on the right. This is usually what your workspace looks like when you first open up Photoshop, but these panels are customizable, meaning you can remove them and add them. Now our most important panel is this one here called Layers. This is the one that we're going to be using the most, and what I normally do is I actually close out the rest of my panels to make sure that I can basically just see my layers. Now we'll learn more about layers in a future tutorial, but I want to have a lot of space for that panel. So notice I've got a color swatch panel at the top, properties panel, and if you go up to window here at the top, you actually have many more different panels to choose from. Notice the ones that are selected are the ones that are right in my workspace right now. If I unselect them, they will remove from the workspace. You could also right click in kind of the darker area, and you could close either a particular tab or a whole tab group. Now if you accidentally do that, you can always add those panels back in by going up to window again. And I can add back the color panel or any other panels I want. I personally like to just keep my layers here and add in panels as needed. Now if you ever have your workspace maybe totally change or things disappear that you can't find again, there's actually a really easy way to reset your workspace, and I'm going to go ahead and show you how to do that. It's actually in that same tab at the top called Window, and if you go down to Workspace, we always want to make sure that we're in Essentials. This is the default workspace, and there's actually a couple different types depending on what kind of work you're doing here in Photoshop. Now if that's already selected, we can actually go down a little bit lower to Reset Essentials. And if I do that, I get that same panel here on the right, or I should say the same setup. And that way, again, if anything weird happens, you're missing your toolbar or different panels, you can easily go to Workspace, Window, Workspace, and Reset Essentials. But again, I like to remove the Color tab and the Properties tab and just have my layers available. The last thing in the Workspace I'm going to show you is this View option here at the top. So when you click on View, it gives you a bunch of different options. One of them being rulers. Now notice right now I've got these rulers set on the left and the right. These will help you in measuring and helping to align certain things when you are doing more than just editing one particular photo. Maybe you're adding in multiple photos or text. So having your ruler there is a good option. If you ever want to go away, you can simply click on rulers again and it will disappear. Now what I really like about rulers is that it allows you to have guides. So notice you have options here of to lot guides and clear guides, all kinds of different guides options. But what are guides? When you have your ruler set, you can actually click in the ruler, hold down your mouse, and drag. And what this will do, it'll make these blue guidelines that are actually very easily adjustable. You can actually move them at any time. You can add as many of them as you want. So if you're ever trying to line up something or measure something out at a particular distance, you could add in these guides. Now these guides do not affect the final photo. They're not visible when you save your work. So they're really easy to use, very functional, and you can always go back up to View and clear them all when you're ready for them to disappear. Another thing in View that might be helpful is zooming in and out. Notice when I click zoom in, it zooms into the image and zooms out. Most of these options in here, as well as all of these different places, have keyboard shortcuts, and we're going to be learning a lot of those. So I find it easier to use the shortcut. So if I hold down Control and then the plus sign on my keyboard, I can zoom in a little bit easier. I'll show you that. And then Control minus will zoom out. Just an easy way to kind of zoom in and out of your images while in this workspace. Other tabs at the top that we will use will be filters. These are all kinds of different filters and quick edits that you could use. They're all categorized by what they do. You also have an area of selection. We're going to learn selection tools very soon. A lot of these will be keyboard shortcuts that we learned, but you can access all the different functions here in Select. We'll also be using layers a lot, just like I talked about how we'll use the layers panel. A lot of the layers options are in this area. A lot of image options when it comes to adjustments, image size, rotating, stuff like that will be here. We also have an edit section. Edit we will use a lot in order to edit, free transform, meaning move, rotate images. And then lastly, file, which will do a lot of different things. We can create new images, open new images, save, lots of different stuff. That's it, you guys. There's your workspace.